welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to be fitting these nice and shiny coilovers. The first ones I'm going to do is the front, because they're going to be the worst ones, I think. So initially, strut bar off to access the top of the strut top, which is the 3 nuts just here. And then once I've taken that off, I think, or I'm hoping, it is just the bottom shock absorber bolt, and then I can just pull it down, I think. Although that looks like a pain to get off. That looks like it's going to be seized. But the car is 17 years old, so I'm expecting some difficulties. The rears look a lot easier. 2 nuts at the top, bottom shock absorber bolt, and the spring just sits in this, so it's probably loosen the inner one off, take off this one, swing this out of the way and take the spring out. That is one shock absorber out. Okay, moving on to the rear, I think I'm going to take off the lower pan first, take the spring out, because if I get any problems, it's going to be with the spring. That it might. ping out into my face. Okay, so now the shockers and springs are removed from the car. Just wanted to show what you actually get with this. This is how it comes in the packaging. It's not all set up or anything. I think you can find the specs online for the car that you're fitting them to. So these are the street basis ones. Cheapest option that I could find. Hardly drive the car anyway. I think it's done about 1,000 miles in the last year. These were about £440, and they are also quite cheap because you use the original top mounts off the rear. So you use take this piece off, and off the front you use them. Obviously use a spring compressor to clamp the spring down before you remove that. These are the front ones. Like I said, nothing's set up. I'm going to have to measure it all and set that up, or find the specs online. And then the rear shock absorbers, just for comparison, new springs and the rear spring sat behind it. Bit of a difference there. So I'll build these up and start getting them fitted to the car. Okay, so for the front, you're going to have to compress the spring to remove the top mount, because if you just undid that nut right there, that spring is going to go off and you will die. That is just it. Okay, so you know when the tension's off the spring, because you can start moving the shock around, the spring will be a bit loose in there, so that's ready to undo the nut at the top. And then once you've got the spring off, then you wind these back sort of, I'd say about 10mm on each one, so the spring decompresses evenly. But yeah, if you don't know how to use these, if you've never used before, just don't try. Make a friend. Get a friend to do it. So for the rear, obviously you need to build it up, so you put, that's first, that goes on. Then you've got your longer one of these, the dust cover, and then your bump stop or washer, whatever you want to call it, and then you start building up your top mount on top of that, or your original top mount. So that's got the collar inside. You probably take this off anyway, it comes as one, but it goes in that order. And then the plate, and then you put your top bush on. when you take these off, there is supposed to be like a gasket that sits there. This bulb broke off, so it might knock. If it does, I'll have to take it off and just replace that, and then you put your nut on, and that's the rear shock absorber built up. I'm going to build up the rear spring, so you use your original rubber mount at the bottom, then your spring, so the flat bit goes on the top, so that part's flat, and then you've got your tail here, and then that just lines up there with this edge there, and then you put on your spring adjusters on top. That all comes built up anyway, and so when it goes on the car, that's your top mount, and that actually sits in there, and that's your rear spring built up. so the gap is better on the rear, a lot lower on the front. So what I might have to do is just raise that up at the front and possibly at the back. They have cut on the rear, so I might have a go at rolling the rear arches. I literally got from here to there before the wheels are catching on the back, so I'm going to have to sort that out. I'm going to drive it forward, go off the curb, because I want to see if that back wheel hits the arch or it tucks in. So when I go off the curb, can you be like close? Yeah, when I drop the back off the curb, I just want you to be about like that. Tucks right in. Hey, that's what, because when I went off the curb last time, and that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and leave a comment. If you've got any questions, just post a comment below. Press the bell thing as well. Plenty more to come. I've got to replace the clutch. I've got to sort the bodywork, whether that's paint or wrap. And I've got to take all the suspension off as well, because I'm going to under seal all the arches and hopefully underneath as well. So plenty more to come. But thank you very much. Cheers. Ride or die. I keep well on my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta ride or die.